Morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Mohammed Anam Akhtar. I'm the head of business education at University of Southampton Delhi, and I have with me my friend Dr. Daniel, the director of the FinLab in UK, and he is kindly visiting India to install Bloomberg Terminal in the FinLab over here. So I'll ask certain questions from Daniel and would like to get the bigger perspective on what basically Bloomberg is and how that helps our student over here. So Daniel, the first question that comes to my mind, many times we feel that Bloomberg is all about financial data and it is only limited to stock market data and analysis. Is that correct?
That is not true. The Bloomberg Terminal doesn't provide just financial data, but also has news and analytics that obviously, yes, are useful for anybody working in finance, but those from other areas such as economics, accounting, investment banking will find it useful to use the Bloomberg Terminal to get access to market-leading data.
Right. So this perception wherein the student feel that this is specifically for finance student may or may not be correct.
Yes. That's not correct. No.
So now that takes me to the next question. Now, coming from an employability perspective, what do you feel that this offers to our students?
So there's a number of benefits that come from the Bloomberg offering that we have through the FinLab. Number one is students get real-world experience of using a Bloomberg terminal, which if they're planning to go into a career that utilizes this software, they will be ready to start working on it from day one, which means for an employer, they wouldn't have to spend weeks, if not months, training our students to use the software because our students will already come with the experience of using the Bloomberg terminal from on graduation. Number two, the Bloomberg for Education offering includes a number of certifications that our students can take part in, such as Bloomberg Market Concepts, Bloomberg Finance Fundamentals, and Bloomberg ESG, which includes Environmental, Social, and Governance certification. So our students can use this to enhance their CV and LinkedIn profiles and make themselves more employable upon graduation.
I know from an Indian perspective that generally the Bloomberg access is available only for the PG student. Now for the UG student, while they won't be working very early on their dissertation, so how they can engage with Bloomberg to help them have a better perspective and then eventually help them in terms of placements as well.
So it's not true that only the MSc students get access to Bloomberg. Anybody that's a student anywhere at the University of Southampton or including the Delhi campus has access to our financial laboratory, which does include the Bloomberg terminals. Students get an introduction in their very first year where they get a brief crash course in the offering that's available on Bloomberg and introduction to the certifications that are available. And we then help them sign up for the certificates so they can then complete them at their own pace, ideally in the first year of their undergraduate or bachelor's degree, so that when they start applying for internships and graduate jobs in the second and third year, they already have the certifications completed. The benefit of that is the first year, even if it might not seem like that to the students, they have a lot more free time than they're ever going to have for the vast majority of the rest of their lives. So we encourage them to make the most of the time that they have and to get the certifications done early on.
Talking about the certifications, are there any specific certifications which are, let's say, useful more for finance student, more for management student, more for economics student as such?
So it depends on the area that students might be working in. If they're interested in finance, then obviously Bloomberg Finance Fundamentals would be the certification for them. If they're studying economics, and then the Bloomberg Market Concepts might be a better suited certification. If they're thinking more along the management side of things, then Bloomberg ESG would relate to them much better than, say, finance if they're not planning to go down that path.
Generally, the student perspective is like talking about from the perspective of business management, and let's say international management student, or let's say computer science, they believe that they cannot engage much with Bloomberg because it is like, let's say, if you're there into econ, you need Bloomberg. If you're there into finance, you need Bloomberg. So what we can suggest to our students from other areas that, okay, this is the way in which Bloomberg is going to help you out.
So students, say, computer science, many students, even in the UK campus, we see that when they're working on their final projects, they might want to work on developing an algorithm where they need high frequency data. Bloomberg Terminal would be an excellent source of that. You know, trading produces a data point every few seconds or fractions of a second. So what better data set to use than this? We've got the incoming MSc data science. Analytics comes along with it. For data science, you need to be able to analyze data.
Yeah.
What better source of data than the Bloomberg terminal?
Yes. And when we say that we are going to talk about certifications, is there a cost involved?
No, the certification is absolutely free to our students as part of the subscription that the university has. All they need to do is come into the financial lab, log in with their University of Southampton email address, register, and then they can completely free of charge.
Okay. So this is good to know that our student will be getting additional certification and that too free of cost. Now, having said that, are there specific needs from the industry that you have identified over a period of time, which you would like to suggest to our students here, that this is how they can engage with Bloomberg, which some of the prospective employers, because Bloomberg is one of the tools which is widely used in industry.
So given the highly competitive job market at the moment, where it's becoming increasingly difficult for students to get jobs post-graduation, especially now with the rise of generative artificial intelligence, having something that helps the students stand out in the application process is now a must. It's not a plus, it's a must now. And having these certifications, which there aren't going to be as many students out there, is definitely going to help them stand apart from a pool of hundreds, if not thousands, of other applicants.
Right. And Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong. So, like, we are one of the few universities, at least in Indian context, I know, that offers Bloomberg and LSEG at the same time. Are there other database access to our students as well? Other, as in, like, there are certain databases that I know. Would you like to talk about that?
So our students also have access to LSEG Workspace, which complements our Bloomberg offering. So it provides financial data in a similar manner to Bloomberg. The one benefit of LSEG is that the license can be accessed remotely. So our students who may prefer to study or work on their dissertation outside of campus, either in their accommodation or if they go back home, would be able to access the financial data. So it allows our students this level of flexibility, and also it means they can diversify their offering. So if their potential employer focus more on the LSEG offering rather than Bloomberg, they would also be equipped with that knowledge.
Right. Now, our student, when we started, they already had access to LSEG and they are using it, right? So the prior knowledge of LSEG, whether it is helpful for the student when they are engaging with Bloomberg, or there are additional perspectives that are available with Bloomberg only.
So in terms of the thinking, as students, whether students are exposed to financial data from one or the other, the interface might be slightly different, and there might need to be some slight adjusting in that. So, but in terms of finding the way the information is organized, it's going to be very similar, regardless of which of the two softwares they use. Both of them have an Excel add-in to allow the students easier access if they're needing to download large volumes of data. The formulas are going to be slightly different, obviously, but if they're able to understand how the formulas work with one, then it can quite easily transfer to the other.
Okay, good. So, having taught various modules at Southampton yourself, Daniel, in economics, maybe in finance, in other areas, how Southampton integrates Bloomberg and LSEG in the curriculum?
So I can mostly talk about the BSc Economics, which is my area that I come from. All students that do the BSc Economics program with us complete the Bloomberg Market Concepts course as part of their first year macroeconomics module. This is to incentivize and encourage the students to complete the certification very early on. And it has helped us improve our employability scores thanks to this. The students then will be using either Bloomberg or LSEG Workspace in the second year for their econometrics modules when they're analyzing financial data sets, and then in the final year when they work on their dissertation, obviously, depending on which area they go in. both Bloomberg and LSEG are a great resource for them to get the data that they need.
Right, right. How important do you think that it is for the students? So let's say one of the student is doing a concept with macroeconomics, and when he has access to databases, as in Bloomberg and LSEG, how important do you feel that this is from an student perspective?
From a student perspective, well, it makes it much easier to get the data, as they don't have to try to scrape it somewhere from the web from a source that might not necessarily be authentic. Plus, having the knowledge of the interface obviously makes their work much easier. So if they're doing an undergraduate program and they learn early on in their first year, then they're not going to spend weeks in their final year trying to learn how to get this data. And what they can focus on instead is actually collecting the data, and they can do it quite quickly once they've conceptualized what their research question is supposed to be.
And whether this also helps the student to sort of create a bridge between what theory they learn and the application part of it?
Absolutely, because this way they can get real data. Say they're learning the Kaplan model, they can actually get the real data, see whether the coefficients are what they were taught in the lectures, and get a real feel for what's happening.
Yes. Thank you, Daniel, for all these insights. And indeed, it was very helpful to understand from the director of FinLab himself how LSEG and Bloomberg databases are very useful for our students. Thank you, Daniel.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.